Token D Rock here with another stream. Crypto market cap well over $910 billion. Bitcoin dominance has climbed over 40%, sitting at 40.4%. ETH dominance 19%. Bitcoin going on quite the tear right now, sitting right now it's $19,150. ETH sitting at 1415. BNB at 288. Cardano at 33 cents, Dogecoin 8 cents, Matic 91 cents. Dow Jones Industrial Average, after looking like it was going to dump for today, has done a nice recovery, about a 200-point recovery from the drop earlier we saw this past hour. So you can see on the minute chart, Bitcoin has gone on quite the tear. It looked like we were going to start faltering to the downside, but inevitably the bulls did show up, breaking past previous resistance right around 19,100. Right now they're trying to break through 19,200, but they're facing some resistance right now. Again, will the momentum keep moving forward and as we go into the weekend? Time will tell. But we're seeing some consolidation for Bitcoin roughly between 18,000 and 19,200. So pretty interesting to see this playing out right now. But personally, I don't think we're going to get the the next leg of the bull run, so to speak. I don't think it's going to happen right now. I think we need to more or less consolidate between 20 and 15K before heading higher. Obviously, sitting at 19K is a lot closer than sitting to 20K, but or sorry, sitting close to 20K right now at 19K is a lot closer than sitting to 15K. But there's still a lot of things going on in the market, not just with crypto, but around the world with the macro that could affect prices. We do have a Fed meeting next month to look forward to, so we'll see if they continue with the rate hikes or if they do a brief pause. I don't think they're going to pause just yet. I think we could see that some point in late quarter two, early quarter three. That's just my speculation, what I think will happen. But again, time will tell. Time may tell a very different story. We can see DXY is still trending downwards. That may be as to why we're seeing more rallies out of stock and crypto. Again, if this continues in a downtrend like it has been, we can more or less expect a rally out of stocks and crypto. And if this breaks to the upside, we will see stonks and crypto get smashed as a result. Again, we'll see. I don't think we're going to get all the way down here. I could see maybe like 100 or maybe 95 absolute lowest, and then we reverse at some point here in the near future, which will crush stonks and crypto. So head over to Twitter for some news. $1 is equivalent to 5,753 sats. Just let that sink in. Bitcoin is cheap. It's probably closer to like 5,500 now with the recent pump. I mean, this tweet was posted roughly about 2 days ago time. And if we look at Bitcoin just on the daily, Bitcoin was below 18K 2 days ago. So just thought I'd throw that out there. The reality is, if you have zero point 0.3 Bitcoin, you already have more savings than most Europeans. Keep stacking. I'm sure it's more like here in America, it's probably more like point 0.1. Keep puts you at more savings than most Americans, because I know for a fact that most Americans can't afford a $500 emergency. Just let that sink in. Pretty crazy stuff. $50,000 per Bitcoin, your family will start talking again. 100,000, your family will think you're a genius again. At $1 million, your family will hate you. At a 10 million per Bitcoin, your family will look to you for salvation. Save accordingly. Yeah, that's kind of why we have to stack as much Bitcoin as possible. We need to prove To the naysayers that the utility behind the network and what the network provides is unsurmountable. There's nothing like it on this planet that we find ourselves living on. Here we have Plan B commenting saying two, s- my two satoshis on Bitcoin price. November 2022 low of 15.5K was the bottom. I don't agree with that statement. Bitcoin has crossed short-term holder and will rise into 2024 halving and subsequent 2025 bull market. Several on-chain signal firm short-term holder signal. 2024 halving will be more than 32K per Bitcoin. 2025 bull market will find Bitcoin above 100K. Personally, I think we could find ourselves between 10 and 30K for the next year and a half, maybe. Maybe heading towards 30K at some point near the halving. I don't think we will be above 32K, but what do I know? I think realistically, next cycle or after the halving in 2025 during the bull market, I think we'll see Bitcoin above 100K. I'm not thinking 250K like everyone's claiming. Oh, for sure it's going to hit $250,000. I think that's more set for something like the 2029 bull market, but that's just my opinion, not financial advice. So stack accordingly. But yeah, I don't see us hitting 32K anytime soon, at least not till around the halving, if not afterwards. But again, we'll see. What if this is the macro bottom that we experienced? Again, 15.5K, kind of building off what Plan B had said. Would be Dime says would be surprising if we didn't do down 85% as we usually do. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of people claim we've done 80% down from all-time high, which is factually incorrect because if we did indeed see 80% drawdown, that would put Bitcoin slightly below 14K, and we were very shy of that. That would be another from 15.5K. That's roughly it's like a 10% drop to 13.8, 13.9K, which would be an 80% drop from all-time high. And that's the thing. I think with the macro conditions and everything, I think Bitcoin for sure can drop to at least that, if not maybe like 82, 83, 84%. I don't think we're going to see an 85% drop. But again, with the macro and everything, with all the uncertainty, who knows at this point in time? Digital Asset News or Rob says this makes me sad, not because of Celsius Network Bitcoin mining operation not profitable, but for all the people who once again had hoped that Celsius would become profitable and make everyone whole. Stop this charade, Celsius. Liquidate now and give everyone back what you can. At this point, you guys, I'm pretty much sold on the idea that I'm not going to get any assets back from Celsius. I still remain hopeful with Voyager because I do believe the SEC basically cleared Binance to buy the the crypto lender platform Celsius or crypto exchange. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think they settled that. So I do think Binance is going to proceed with buying out Voyager. Adios, Nexo. Police raided the Nexo office to investigate the setting up of an organized crime group, tax crimes, money laundering, banking activity without a license, and computer fraud. Personally, I think some of these charges are probably BS, but nonetheless, we're seeing more and more crypto exchanges slash lending platforms go down. SEC Chair Gary Gensler saying crypto is the Wild West and most tokens will fail. You can see the SEC is set on destroying the crypto market and basically letting the cream float to the top. SEC charges Genesis and Gemini for the unregistered offer and the sale of crypto asset securities through the Gemini Earn Lending program, according to an SEC press release. Again, if you guys have if you have your crypto on these platforms or any other platforms, please take your crypto off the platforms. Don't get caught with your pantalones on the ground. It's not going to be a good time. You're going to be down potentially hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, just because you wanted a 5% yield on Bitcoin or something. Like, don't do it. It's not worth the risk. The cost benefit analysis is not found. So don't leave your crypto on those exchanges. New scam called address poisoning is on the rise. Here's how it works. After you send a normal transaction, the scammer sends $0 token transaction, poisoning the transaction history. They use an address with the same first and last few characters as the real transaction you send, and hold full address and set copy of theirs in a future transaction. You can protect yourself by double checking the full address or by using the address book feature. If you need help, menu, go to support an app or from the web, support.metamask.io. Start a conversation button. The chatbot will ask a few questions. Personally, I don't use MetaMask very much, if at all. Like, I think I've used it a handful of times in my life, but I thought I'd put this out there for those of you who do use MetaMask. So there's that. This is why you need Bitcoin.
It should be accessible.
They don't want the
and
public to
people
see
need
this
to
video.
know,
The
but I don't
bankers
think
don't
you have
trust the
much hope
banks.
of
This
reaching
is
a
from
public
November
that
of
doesn't have
2022. They're
a
talking about financial
professionally
crisis
raised-
and their lack of faith in our banking system, how to keep the public from
completely agree with
freaking
that.
out,
I almost think
i.e.
you'd scare the public
FDIC.
if you put this out. Like, why are they telling me this? Should I be concerned about my bank? Like, my insurance company doesn't tell me what they're doing with my assets. They just assume they're going to pay my claim, right? I think you've got to think of the unintended consequences of taking a public that has more full faith and confidence in the banking system than maybe people in this room do. That we want them to have full faith and confidence in the banking system. They know the FDIC insurance is there. They know it works. They put their money in, they're going to get their money out. So there's a select crowd of people that are in the institutional side. And if they want to understand this, they're going to find a way to understand this. There's a bunch of law firms represented in this room. There's a bunch of people who charge them by the hour a lot of money to explain this all to them. And it's fine. I don't have a problem with that. And they all have huge staffs. But I would be careful about the unintended consequences of starting to blast too much of this out in the general public.
Yeah, so basically they're not too happy with the banks right now. The banks are essentially leaking information that may lead to the panic and the general population, and banksters don't want that because they want everyone believing that the banks have all of their money and that they can just withdraw it at any time, even though that's not the case. Like we discussed a few times on this channel, prior to COVID, banks were required to hold 10% of the total assets on hand in hard cash. Since COVID began, they lowered it from 10% down to 0%. So essentially, the bank doesn't need to hold any of the money of the total assets on hand. So just throwing that out there. You cannot afford to mess up over the next 12 to 18 months. Your decisions over this time period will either secure your financial freedom or ruin you for decades. It's the big one, and I am ready. I wholeheartedly agree. I think we're going to see a lot of pain these next 12 to 18 months, but if you can buckle down, keep your head down, and keep stacking whatever you're stacking, whether it's Bitcoin, Cardano, some stocks, some ETFs, it's going to pay off immensely. That's not to say you can't totally F up. Probably not a good idea to put all your money into CUM Rocket or something like that, or another shit coin. But that's not financial advice. Just telling you, probably not a good idea to put your money in that. Fed's Bullard saying the global outlook has improved. Europe and China are mentioned. I'm not exactly sure how the global outlook is improving. I mean, considering China pretty much had their COVID episode yet again. War is still raging over in Ukraine and Europe. I'm not really sure as to where oil or energy prices stand in Europe, but I'm sure they're not back to their normal prices. I'm sure they're still slightly inflated, if not 2 to 3 times expensive compared to what they were spending just a year ago before the war began. But Fed's Bullard saying to avoid a repeat of the 1970s, the Fed must keep interest rates high enough to ensure that inflation falls. So speculation is that the Federal Reserve will do another 75 to 100 basis point rate hike. Not just a single rate hike. They'll probably spread that out between 2 rate hikes, and by then they'll start pausing the rate hikes, maybe going into quarter 2, and then maybe quarter 3 or quarter 4 we start seeing a Fed pivot. Maybe they start cutting rates a little bit, claiming that inflation is under control, even though I don't think we're very close to being under control, considering the Federal Reserve wants 2% inflation rate, but right now we're sitting at 6.5%. Not a good look. We still got a ways to go, but again, it takes time for things to play out in the market. So maybe things are just lagging a bit. Maybe we'll really start seeing the pain this quarter or next quarter as time goes on. And I personally, I'm not too bullish on inflation. I think inflation will the new normal, so to speak, will be right around 4% or something like that, maybe even 3.5. But again, time will tell. White House officials saying CPI confirms the possibility of a soft landing. Again, they want to look good for next election season. I mean, 2024 is, only a year away. That's when the political campaigns will start. Just you wait. President Biden saying he will veto a House Republican bill that would abolish the IRS and eliminate income tax. Of course he would. He doesn't work for you or me. Biden says the first bill introduced by the House Republicans would increase the deficit. I'm not exactly sure how that works. Eliminating the IRS would actually free up the deficit quite a bit. I'm sure we spend quite a few billion a year into the IRS, if not several, like tens of billions funding that. And then, not to mention, eliminating the income tax would benefit everyday Americans. But again, people like him don't want that. So there's that. Small number of classified documents from President Biden's time as vice president were discovered at his home, the White House says, and we're learning more and more about the story. As VP, you are not allowed to take classified documents, but Joe Biden did it anyways. Barry probably gave him the A-OK. It's not illegal to accidentally have classified documents. Again, MSNBC pushing this narrative that it's okay to have to accidentally have classified documents as long as you're Joe Biden, you're friends with the right people. It's illegal to take them and refuse to give them back. Is he refusing to give them back? I'm kind of curious, but it's funny that they went after Orange Man for taking classified documents, and but they're not mad at Joe Biden. Again, quite the double standard. I could care less about Trump at this point, but I think it's ridiculous, the clear hypocrisy. Worth noting that the president seems to absconded with more classified documents than many whistleblowers. For comparison, reality winner was sentenced to 5 years one document. Meanwhile, Biden, Trump, Clinton, Petros, these guys have dozens, if not hundreds, and yet they face no jail time. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that again, if you have the right connections, you don't face any jail time. Bombshell report document reveals $800,000 deal from Penn Biden Center to pay Joe Biden was negotiated in part by Hunter Biden and included an office for Hunter and staff members to included current Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Not really surprising there. Just more and more money being shifted around to the elite class. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, Hillary Clinton, Trump to an extent, Obama. They're all connected one way or another. Democrats' 2024 strategy just got screwed up. The strategy of using the classified documents of Trump to prevent him from running in 2024 is out of the window now that Biden has some issues. They now have three choices. They can eliminate both, force to support both, or they need a new candidate. Which one is it going to be? Democratic Party. Breaking: next round of Twitter files have been released, this time on Russiagate and the fake tale of Russian bots was all a lie. So if you recall, back in the 2016 election, Hillary Clinton essentially paid Russia to dig up dirt on Mr. Trump. She pushed the narrative that Russian bots were interfering with the election. That's why she lost. She couldn't fathom that enough people just disliked her just enough to vote for somebody else or vote for Donald Trump. Again, I could care less for either of them at this current point in time, but it's pretty crazy to believe that that narrative is still being perpetuated among friend groups, among the media, and it's been proven to be false. Like, there was no collusion between uh, Trump and Russia. Personally, I don't think Trump is that smart to pull that all off personally, and I don't think he has exactly all the connections he needs to do so, kind of like Clinton and Obama, but that's just my opinion. I hate to break news to you liberals, but Hillary Clinton wasn't brilliant or clairvoyant. She predicted Russiagate because she helped create it. And again, as the Twitter files show, it was all a sham. There were no Russian bots. It was all BS. Uh, and then we have the war going on in Ukraine. You know, a lot of U.S. politicians and politicians across the world are crying crocodile tears over Ukraine. Meanwhile, they drop American and British made bombs on Yemen. So, U.S. UK arms responsible for civilian deaths in Yemen. Just a reminder that um, President Obama actually started this. He actually drone strike apparently more combatants than any other U.S. president. Just let that sink in. The president who won a Nobel Peace Prize makes me think of the 1930s. I believe uh, H1TL 3R. I'm pretty sure he got a Nobel Peace Prize and then proceeded to slaughter millions of people. Weird how that works, huh? Ukraine is the center of this cult of globalists, and the Ukrainian people are being exploited by evil, horrible people. Canada buying Ukraine a $400 million air defense system that the Canadian Army has been waiting for since 2012. Defense minister did not explain how the government was able to act so quickly for Ukraine, while a similar project for Canada's military continues to go unfilled. And I'm sure they did this because the US pretty much has Canada's ass covered. Like, if someone tries something on Canada, let's say China or Russia, you better believe the US is going to step up and protect Canada. So the fact that they came up with a $400 million air defense system for Ukraine is absurd, but they don't have one themselves. You have a right to refuse a test, mask, or injection. This right does not stem from any law. It's a basic, inalienable human right to bodily autonomy. Any government that seeks to punish or prejudice anyone or someone for refusing to consent to an injection should be dissolved. Wholeheartedly agree. It's your right, your body, your choice. New data shows a new bivalent medical procedure has zero of efficacy. It turns out testing only on 8 mice is not a good drug development strategy. Yeah, it's pretty comical. I don't know if you guys knew this, but for the bivalent medical procedure that was rolled out this past fall, their their test group was 8 mice, not humans, 8 mice. And this is supposed to be a medical procedure that saves lives. I'm not really buying it. You only tested on 8 mice. Here we have researchers hope that a 3-in-1 medical procedure will ease fatigue regarding the medical procedures. It's being trialed in Queensland, Australia, targeting C19. the flu and serious respiratory issues. Uh, I think that's pretty crazy. Again, quite the clown world we find ourselves living in. Uh, R.I.P. Jeff Beck, great classic rocker. He dropped dead suddenly of bacterial meningitis, supposedly. Give me a break. These people are routinely getting diseases that have not been endemic since the 18th century. Biggest state of denial I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, the fact that we aren't questioning as to why so many people are just randomly and suddenly passing away is a bit concerning. Slash shows you just how far the corruption goes. There's no one to be held accountable. These people will not be held accountable, unfortunately, until the general consensus, the general conscious of citizens around the world realize just how evil these people are. In other news, White House talking about getting rid of gas stoves because they're bad for the environment. Gas stoves are really bad because they can't be turned off remotely, and that's one of the theories being spread around is the reason was to why they're trying to ban or get rid of slash make it harder for you to get gas stoves is because unlike electric, an electric stove they can't just turn off the fuel whenever they want. You have to do it yourself. They don't like that. So they're not going to ban gas stoves, but secretly they're going to make it really hard for you to get gas stoves in the future. So plan accordingly. Not much advice, but I'm probably going to look up a gas stove myself. Switzerland deploying up to 5,000 army troops to protect Klaus Schwab's World Economic Forum in Davos. If you were unaware, uh, World Economic Forum is meeting in a few days' time over in Switzerland. World Economic Forum is actually behind this narrative that we need to get rid of gas stoves. What do they need 5,000 army troops for? I'm kind of confused. What are they anticipating? Are they anticipating a large scale invasion of Davos? Like, come on. I don't see it happening. I think they're tripping. They're not thinking right, as usual with the World Economic Forum. Sweden state-owned mining company says it has discovered Europe's biggest rare earth mineral deposit in the country's north. This is pretty interesting development. It's important to point out that Tesla recently decided to reduce prices in the United States and Canada by up to 23% for some of their models. Does this have to do something with it? Is Elon Musk kind of wary that the price of EVs or EV batteries will go down significantly with this recent discovery in Sweden? I don't know, but let me know what you think down below in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed today's stream, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share the video with your friends and family. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Don't focus too much on the market. I think this rally that we're seeing, just another bear market rally. It will go down, uh, at a later point, maybe over the weekend, maybe next week. But nonetheless, what's it called? I hope you guys have a great weekend. So until Monday, 9:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, please take care and invest wisely, and I'll see you guys all then. Till then.